child. They looked over him. Okay. So it says, but and one day while he was visiting them in Saul's army, David saw Goliath. That's the giant, okay? Goliath was a giant, a Philistine warrior, the biggest, tallest, strongest man they had ever seen. The Philistines challenged King Saul. They've challenged King Saul. If your strongest man can beat our strongest man, we will be your slaves. But if our strongest man can beat your strongest man, you will be our slaves. Someone had to fight Goliath at that point. Yeah, the ones that couldn't do the job, that could not successfully execute in the position, they couldn't successfully execute in the marriage, couldn't successfully execute in the family, at the event, whatever have you. They couldn't do it because guess why? They weren't qualified to do it. It's your job. So now listen. So it says, now he said, now, but if our strongest man beat your strongest man, then you guys are going to be our slaves. So somebody had to fight this big old huge giant. But who was brave enough to do it? Who was big enough to do it? Who was strong enough? I'll do it, a voice called out. Will you be the voice that calls out and say, I'll do it? Will you take up your cross and battle in the field that God has you going into? Will you take up your cross and say, God, it's your will, not mine. I will do your will. It's not about me, God, but it is about you. I'll do your will. So now listen to this right here. It says, King Saul turned around and he couldn't believe his eyes. It was David, Jesse's youngest son, and he was just a kid at that. Now, King must have thought, I don't think so. You're too young, he told David. God has helped me save our sheep from a lion and a bear. David said, and God will help me save Israel from Goliath. It did sound crazy, the king thought, right? It says, but King Saul didn't know what else to do. No one else was brave enough to fight Goliath. So now this is what the king is saying. Now, he's not brave enough to fight him. They're not brave and bold enough to fight this giant, but this little bitty old kid is saying, I'll fight him. So this big old king that has been put in a position to lead all these people, he was afraid he couldn't do it. So he gave his sword to a little bitty old kid. So now the kid even said, no, thank you. David answered, it's too big for me. Instead of a sword, David took the slingshot he used to protect his sheep from other animals. Then he picked up 5 smooth stones and walked onto the battlefield to meet Goliath. It says, look at you. You're like a little stick. Goliath started laughing, right? He started throwing little jabs and jokes and all of that. He was laughing, hee hee ha ha, right? But he didn't know what God had coming for his big behind, okay? So it says, and he said, I'll break you into pieces and feed you to the birds. But David wasn't scared at all. He wasn't scared. He came in with his braveness, right? He had the braveness and the boldness from God. A lot of times people won't even understand when God say that he'll give you peace that surpasses all understanding. God said he'll give you peace that surpasses all understanding. A lot of times people won't even understand. Why am I fighting against this person day and night? I'm sending arrows and attacks their way all day and night, but they still over there peaceful. They still up there. They getting up every day. They still have strength. They're still able to move and move along and get along on this earth, on God's green earth, without the problems that I've been sending at them. Is because when God says that he has called you, he's approved you, God say, if he be for you, who can be against you? Okay, somebody go read that. So it says that, but David wasn't scared because David trusted God. The battle belongs to God, and he is going to help me strike you down, David yelled. Then David put a stone in his sling and swung it around his head. Brrr, pop. Okay, that's what happened. He swung it around, flung it, pop, and it popped that giant Goliath right between his eyes. The great strong giant wobbled, then fell down. Israel was saved. Israel was saved. Who had defeated Goliath? Not big, strong King Saul, not even Jesse's warrior sons. It was little David, the one who was the one who was supposed to be taking care of the sheep. David trusted God. And when we trust God with everything, God can use us to do amazing things, even if we are small. So don't be timid in your call, and don't be timid in your walk, because see, a lot of times the ways of this world is intimidating a lot of times to some of us when we get off track of God. But once you keep your mind on God, knowing that God is the seer, he is the finisher, he is the start and the finisher of our faith. He is the one that is keeping his hand on us. No, he didn't tell us that everything was going to be easy, but he did tell us to follow him. So if we can just believe, and we're keeping our hands clean and our minds and hearts stayed on the Father God, don't matter how tough or strong these issues and situations become, God is going to bring you out on top every single time. Even when it looks like it's failing for you, God going to bring you out on top every single time, because his word cannot lie. Okay? That's for somebody. Somebody go and read 1 Samuel 17, the whole chapter. Be blessed, y'all.